I get to have a lot more flexibility within what I'm doing from day to day. I'm working from home now. I do some work within actual spaces, but I get to choose essentially when I'm going to those places.
So tell everybody, what are you doing right now?
So I am working as a freelance instructional designer right now, and I have 4 or 5 different commitments, different contracts that I work on in different capacities. Some of those are still within K-12 education, within an actual school, to a couple different groups that provide curriculum and other supports for K-12 education. And then I have some e-learning projects that I'm working on as well.
So cool. Must be very exciting to have so many different projects simultaneously.
It is. It is. One of the things that I really loved about teaching was getting to learn all kinds of different things, and that's one of the reasons that I transitioned into instructional design. Because as an ID, you get to create learning experiences for all kinds of different subject matter, and it also is heavily project based.
What do you enjoy about your new life?
It's interesting. I'm really enjoying the instructional design process. I enjoy an iterative process where I can go back and reflect on things and work with other peoples, work with subject matter experts, work with other learning designers to make sure that what is being created is the best that it can be to hit those learning targets and outcomes. Um, but within that, I get to have a lot more flexibility within what I'm doing from day to day. I'm working from home now. I do some work within actual spaces, but I get to choose essentially when I'm going to those places. Um, so it allows me to focus on things that make sure first and foremost that I'm healthy, and I'm focused on things that I need to get done in order to, further my own projects and my own career trajectory, that were honestly just incredibly difficult to focus on the day-to-day demands of being a teacher. It allows me to spend more time with my family and my friends as well. And it's not easy to leave a classroom and go on a Costco run midweek, and I can do that now. And that sounds a little silly, to be honest, coming out of my mouth, but if you've gone from a job where you had a lot of restrictions on your time and your capacity and your energy, and you're trying to transition out of that kind of thing, those small wins are incredibly important and impactful. And there's more important things than running to Costco, like being able to be more involved directly in my daughter's classroom, for example.
Yes.
But it is really, really helpful to be able to set one's own schedule and set one's own commitments and figure out how and when your energy is best spent on the different kinds of job tasks that I'm now doing.
So what was the reason that you decided to leave the classroom?
So it was a personal and professional decision. Professionally, I had been at the top of my field for 2 different job positions, teaching jobs, for a long time. And so both growth and skills wise, and in terms of compensation, it was really no longer doable. And so, personally, the structures around education within the United States, unfortunately, and particularly within my state, all of those things culminated in burnout. And this is a really common experience for educators or people that are
Yes.
in really high demand jobs. And unfortunately, as a former veteran teacher and a very high functioning person, it ends up just making somebody feel very stuck. And I was, because there wasn't anything else to do differently. I'm a really creative person. And so the creativity took a hit as well. And health wise, like I've already mentioned, that's not good either. And so I knew I needed to make changes about 5 years ago and made some decisions, did a graduate school, or graduate certificate program nearby to help kind of upskill some job stuff for transitioning to adult learning, possibly within instructional design. Um, so it wasn't so much as a one position shift as an entire priorities and career, like priorities first and then career shift. But those were all really important reasons for me to prioritize myself and move on. It was hard though. Anybody who's left a position that they're really passionate about knows how hard it can be to move away from that, but it was important to do so.
Emotionally hard, right?
Emotionally hard. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to I taught middle school for 16 years. It's hard to break away from the kids first and foremost. It's hard to break away from safety that exists in doing something that you know you're really good at. Um, within Education is a thankless job and an overly thanked job at the same time. So, like, it's got all kinds of issues, but when you're good at what you do within teaching, you do get a lot of gratitude. And so that kind of thing and feeling like, oh my goodness, I know I'm making a huge impact in the lives of kids and their families and the community, that that part was also really hard for me to leave. Um, but it's been a great thing to recognize ways that I can further impact in the different jobs that I'm doing now. And the jobs that I or job possibly in the future that I'll have. So it's a shift.
So how do you feel that you're making an impact now, a greater impact?
So right now I am working on 5 different contract roles, and each of them have different ways that they are helping people learn and grow. So if you think about impact, well, I'm still impacting people, just not
Yep.
as personally and directly and quickly necessarily, but the projects that I'm involved in are all things that are impactful.
In a
And
larger number, actually. In
in
a
a
larger
larger
number, actually. Okay,
quantity is important.
quantity is
Yeah.
important. So you were doing all that. What made you, make the decision? Because it was a conscious decision. What made you make the decision to take these different contract roles?
I really do like the idea of having multiple not the idea. I do like the process of having multiple projects go on at once. But because I have all of these different skills for project management and organization and efficiency and communication from teaching, um and all of the honestly instructional design that I did then, I'm able to balance it all perfectly well and figure out who do I need to talk to at what times, and what tasks I have to have completed within a certain time period, um, in order to balance those different commitments.
I love that, and it's really something that teachers should consider, especially teachers that are transitioning into something like instructional design,
Yes,
because there are a lot
absolutely.
and it is very lucrative. I have many clients like yourself,
Mhm.
who, do the freelance route and are very, very successful in their careers. So tell me
Yes.
about the transition out of education. What was it like? What was it like before we met? What was it like after we met?
Yeah, thanks. I do not like job searching. I don't think anybody likes it.
I
Maybe
don't
career
think anyone
coaches
really likes
do, but
Hey.
but I didn't like any of it. You know, I had worked probably 3/4 ish of the year before you and I started working together. And I felt really stuck within what I was applying for. And because everything, the way that I was doing it, felt so high stakes. It wasn't high stakes. In all honesty, for myself and my family and our situation, it wasn't as high stakes as I was making it, but I was still overthinking everything. I was getting advice from too many resources, and so the pathways for what I should have been pursuing were really muddled and confusing. And I would actually compare it to when I have a 10-year-old. So when my daughter was a newborn and my husband and I were trying to figure out and look for advice, like, after we came home from the hospital for, like, just random things that we thought were going wrong, and we were looking at too many different routes, and everything got really confusing, and eventually, I don't know, maybe, like, 3 months in, we were like, "Alright, let's use 2 books. Let's use a couple reliable sources for everything, because we'd gotten enough books in some baby showers to tell us what to do. Let's do that. And once we had one single route and advice to follow that was great advice, then everything became a lot more clear. And so that's kind of what it was like starting to work with you. Was you have so much experience and expertise in understanding people's motivations and helping them find them, and helping people prioritize and helping people organize and matching different ideas, and so much expertise within how to do the job search well and what companies and organizations are looking for and what other things to consider. So job searches without Coach Cindy are like having a newborn. We'll put it that way.
I use that in my marketing going forward.
That's what you should. If you don't like the newborn phase.
So what was the most beneficial thing that you got?
So one of the things that you did probably every time we met was you often caught phrasing that I would be using that would be second guessing myself, and stopped it and reframed it. And so it would be like in a practice answer to an interview question, or me struggling to like articulate a job responsibility on a resume bullet point, we would stop. You would like ask a question, and that helped me to really recognize how like my own thoughts were underselling me.
How you spoke
And
about yourself, how you
yeah,
talked about yourself, how you repeated things, how you envisioned yourself.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So that was really helpful, is the way that you helped me to break down those internal thought processes. And then your overall approach was something I needed too. So the holding the hand and the kicking in the butt thing is great. It's a great approach. So I recognized that's exactly my approach, and I need somebody to do that for me, because I'm really good at doing it for other people, but I wasn't so great at doing it for myself. So I really like how your approach with career coaching both helped me understand my own motivations and passions, as well as pushed me through the most uncomfortable parts of job searching.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, and that's some of the best parts of this, right? Is
Hmm.
getting you past your own obstacles, giving you that mirror, giving you to see that, and reminding you of how great you are,
Yeah.
right? Past that imposter syndrome. So,
Yeah.
what would your advice be for anybody that is looking to make a pivot in their career, looking to exit teaching? What would your advice
Hmm.
be?
I think this looks different for everybody, but it's to figure out what it means to prioritize yourself in this process. So, if you come from K-12 education like I do, and a lot of your clients do, centering yourself is not a skill set that you typically have if you're in a career where you are giving and giving and giving. Um, that's not there because you're giving and giving and giving.
Right.
But centering yourself is a skill that needs to be developed in order to communicate your value and what you bring to the table, and why you're so great for a specific position. So that would be one, would be learn how to prioritize yourself and recognize first and foremost that that doesn't mean you're a bad person if you're making efforts to take care of yourself and
Right.
to figure out what you want. And then the other, I have another little bit, is to use your resources really wisely. So if you make a commitment to yourself as part of your job search process, follow through on that.
Right.
If it is choosing a career coach and going with a career coach, you should go with Coach Cindy. Or if it's applying to 5 jobs a week, you got to do it. And you got to figure out ways to make follow through happen for yourself. And that one of the things that you're really great at is helping people to figure out follow through, if that's something that a lot of people struggle with.
A
um
lot of people
Helping
struggle with
people
it. Yeah.
set goals and set things where I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, breaking things down into chunks. It's one of the main things we talk about in both education and instructional design, and you're really good at helping people break things into steps so they can reach their goals.
Well, thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure working with you. I'm so happy for your success. I'm so happy
Thanks.
that you are happy and that you found something that is the perfect balance for you, your health, your family, and your life.